Hello friends, this is Hedda, and today we're going to talk about one of my favorite type of spreads, the future log. So I'm going to show you 5 different ways to make one, but first we're going to talk about what a future log is. A future log is like a hybrid calendar. This is more like a year at a glance, where you have the whole year lined up, but there's not really any room to write, so you can't really use it for much. Of course, there are very many ways to make future logs. You can have lots of room to write or less room to write. You can have a whole year in one page, or you can have less, like this one, which has 6 months in one spread. Really, all you have to do is section your page into 3, and then you make a calendar for each month. And I used different colors for mine, but I accidentally used the wrong color, so I ripped out this page from the back of my journal and just glued it on top. Quick fix! I would probably make another spread like this with the rest of the 6 months of the year, and then I just have 2 columns here where I write birthdays or events, and that's pretty much it. For this next one, I'm not going to use any color, but I'm using black for the headers. I think it looks really cool when you write with a white gel pen on top of a black background. At first I thought I should use my black brush pen to make the black header, but then my gel pen wouldn't really show up on top, so on the other side I used a regular fine liner instead and wrote on top of it with my white gel pen, and it worked much better. The best thing about bullet journals is that you can start them whenever you want. You don't have to start in January. So if you start your journal, for example, in July, your future log could also start in July. For this future log, I'm giving myself a little bit more space, so I only have 4 months on one spread, and then I have 2 columns to write down events and birthdays and other things. I really loved using this future log setup in one of my previous journals. So the next future log I'm showing you is more of a vertical layout, and it has 6 months on one spread. So I'm starting in November because sometimes you start a journal in November and that's okay. And then to kind of separate the year, I'm going to color code. So I'm going to use orange for 2019 and then the blue or purple for 2020. And this is such a simple way to separate the years without having to make separate spreads. So again, I'm going to fill in the calendars for all of the months, and this is kind of when that year at a glance spread comes in handy, because once you've made it once, you can just go back there and look every time you have to make a new calendar. This vertical layout means that you have a lot more room to write, and perhaps you can fit in smaller events that normally wouldn't make it to your future log. I think this is the layout I see the most online in the bullet journal community. This next future log is called a calendex, and this fits all 12 months into one spread, which is pretty amazing. It doesn't give you as much room to write, but in return you get to see the whole year on one spread. So to make a calendex, you basically make columns for each of the 12 months, and then on each side of these columns you write the numbers 1 to 31, and each column is then separated into weeks by drawing horizontal lines. This one takes a bit longer to make, and obviously I sketched all of this out before making this video. The calendex might look a little bit intimidating, at least that's what I thought when I first saw one, and it doesn't give you that much room to write, like I said, but at the same time it's kind of nice having one page where you see the whole year and you just write the most important things. I'm using a colored brush pen to give the spread a little bit of color, and then we're done. Color coding works great in the calendex. You can use different colored pens for different kinds of events, but in this video I'm just using my regular black pen. Last layout I'm going to show you is another version of the vertical future log. This one doesn't fit only 6, it fits all 12 months, which is pretty cool. I saw the spread on Chris Ellie's Instagram a while back, and I thought it looked really cool and I had to recreate it for myself. So all credit goes to Chris. I get a lot of ideas from Instagram, so if you're not following bullet journal accounts on Instagram, you really need to go do that, because there are so many amazing people out there and so many different kinds of approaches to journaling and different kinds of layouts, and it's really fun to see what other people do. What I think is great about this layout is that it doesn't look as strict as a Calendex does, but it still fits all 12 months into one spread. And of course, again, you don't have to start in January, you can start in any month. Because there's less room on each month to write, you might want to consider just putting in the most important things, like the birthdays of the people most important to you or other very important events. For all of the future logs I've shown you today, you can experiment with different fonts and different colors and make them look completely different from mine. I tried to use varied and simple supplies for all of these layouts to show you that all kinds of art supplies or stationery can be used to make a bullet journal. If you're new to bullet journaling, or even if you've been doing it for a long time and you're used to the online community, it sometimes feels like there are certain supplies that you need to have to make a good journal. And I just want to tell you that that's not the case. You can use whatever supplies you have at home, even if they cost $1 or $10. It really doesn't matter. Even if I have a lot of colors available to me, I usually end up using the same ones over and over again because I really like them. So there's not really any point in having lots and lots of supplies. We are reaching the end of the video, so please tell me in the comment section which layout you like the most. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you'd like to see more from me, please click the subscribe button. I'll see you next time!